Prince Harry, once hailed as the beloved and relatable royal, now finds himself on the outside of the palace gates, not simply in terms of geography, but trust as well. A chorus of insider voices close to the crown paint a picture of a man who has burned too many bridges and asked too many difficult questions. A man perceived not as the prodigal son, but as the unpredictable outlier who disrupted the sanctity of royal discretion. The whispers coming from Buckingham Palace no longer hide their message. Harry is being blackballed, not with banners or bold declarations, but in the quiet and cold refusals that define relationships deeply wounded by distrust. And at the heart of it all, the shadow of Meghan Markle continues to loom. One insider put it plainly: "I genuinely think nobody trusts him, and that's the bottom line. The royal family has major trust issues with him, and that's what's at the heart of everything," said the source. This raw, unfiltered statement reveals just how fractured the bonds have become. They don't trust him and Meghan, and that's why they can't have a relationship. Maybe there's room to forgive, but they won't forget. Forgiveness and trust are two different things. The difference between forgiveness and trust is pivotal in this royal rift. For the family, especially King Charles and Prince William, it seems forgiveness could be extended, perhaps even offered quietly in a closed-door conversation. But trust, that sacred currency among royals who trade in secrecy, tradition, and silence, has long been spent. Harry's recent interview with BBC only widened the chasm. In a moment that stunned the public and royal observers alike, Harry spoke of his father's battle with cancer, stating, "I don't know how much longer he has." Though this may have been spoken from a place of sorrow or urgency, the interpretation from royal circles was far less charitable. For those who revere the crown, the intimate details of King Charles's health are not for public speculation, especially by a son who is now, in their eyes, an outsider. Hugo Vickers, a royal author and longtime friend to the establishment, likened Harry's pattern to that of his late mother, Princess Diana, who struggled mightily under the weight of royal protocol and media scrutiny. Harry is quite like his mother. One day, when I was at Buckingham Palace, I was shown the letter that Prince Philip wrote to Diana, in which he said, "Every time Charles talks to you, it's in the Daily Mail the next day," Vickers recalled. The implication is clear. Harry, like Diana, is perceived as a conduit to the press, someone whose allegiance is not with the institution, but with public opinion. And herein lies the royal family's deepest concern. While Diana had her reasons and her pain, which she eventually voiced to the world in that now infamous interview, Harry is being viewed as an heir-turned-heretic. Vickers didn't mince words when he said, "The same thing is happening now. Charles is, of course, right not to trust him. Harry is hopeless in that respect. He shouldn't have given that interview. But none of the royal family should ever give interviews. It's always a car crash." This damning judgment echoes a broader sentiment within the establishment that silence and stoicism are virtues, while candid conversations with the media are tantamount to betrayal. Another source elaborated on the communication breakdown. Harry messaged Charles and he never heard back. He wanted to talk to his dad about security stuff then, but his dad wouldn't speak to him. He really felt like his dad could overturn things. These conversations, or lack thereof, highlight not just a logistical rift, but an emotional one. Harry believes in the power of personal appeal. The family believes in the immutability of royal policy. The Duke of Sussex has been fighting a legal battle to reinstate his UK security privileges, a battle he recently lost in the Court of Appeal. For Harry, this decision is not merely a legal matter, but a deeply personal one. He insists that his family's safety is compromised due to lack of access to UK intelligence, and that his children, Archie and Lilibet, are especially vulnerable. Yet, the court decision has now further complicated his ties to the homeland. Hugo Vickers weighed in once more, urging Harry to accept the security decision and stop whinging and whining. Harry's reaction to the ruling was firm and emotional. In his BBC interview, he stated, "I can't see a world in which I would bring my wife and children back to the UK at this point." That sentence reverberated across media outlets, suggesting not just physical separation from the UK, but a psychological and emotional withdrawal as well. The very idea of returning, of rebuilding, is fading into a haze of strained diplomacy, cold shoulders, and lawsuits. The former prince pointed a finger at the broken communication lines that have defined his relationship with King Charles, claiming, "Charles won't speak to me because of this security stuff." Harry emphasized the personal toll of bureaucratic decisions. "There have been so many disagreements between myself and some of my family," he continued, even acknowledging that his own controversial memoir, Spare, helped drive the wedge deeper. While Spare was a revelation to readers and a bombshell to the monarchy, it was also a catharsis for Harry. He revealed stories, feelings, and facts that had long been buried, but every word became a brick in the wall separating him from his past. And although he may have thought that baring his soul would pave a path toward healing, it had the opposite effect within palace walls. His candor, his desire to explain, to contextualize, to expose, all of it was interpreted as betrayal. Hugo Vickers, again taking on the role of the institution's voice, drew a hard line. Discussing the king's health in public, especially without private confirmation or communication, was an unforgivable misstep. It was disgraceful to talk about Charles's health. If he's not talking to him, how does he know anything about it? He asked, rhetorically but bitingly. It all connects to a timeline of disclosures that began years ago. The infamous 2021 Oprah interview shattered many illusions about the royal family. Harry and Meghan laid bare their mental health struggles, their feelings of isolation, and their allegations of racism within the institution. Then came the Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan, a more polished but no less pointed critique of royal life and media manipulation. Each of these public declarations has been viewed by the royal family as another nail in the coffin of trust, and for Harry's relatives, especially those still working within the palace structure, there is a sense of exhaustion. The never-ending interviews, the candid books, the tearful revelations, all of it amounts to a war of attrition. The palace may never say it out loud, but actions speak volumes. They are ghosting him. Meetings go unscheduled, calls go unanswered. Invitations to family events remain unextended. There is no royal edict, no formal disowning, just a slowly encroaching silence. Prince Harry may have once imagined that leaving the monarchy would afford him the freedom to both speak his truth and maintain a connection to his heritage. But the equation seems to have changed. His decision to become a public truth-teller came at the cost of private relationships. And now, as he watches his father battle illness from afar and his children grow up with minimal ties to their royal lineage, he is left grappling with a complex reality. You can tell your story, or you can preserve your place in the institution. But rarely both. In the court of public opinion, some rally to Harry's side. They see him as a man unafraid to challenge centuries-old traditions, to stand beside his wife against systemic mistreatment, to champion mental health and truth. But within the castle walls, there is no applause. Only wary eyes, locked doors, and a consensus that trust, once broken in such a public and repeated manner, is nearly impossible to regain. Not without years of effort, silence, and perhaps, most of all, humility. And in the absence of these things, Prince Harry remains not the rogue prince, but the exiled one, dwelling in a liminal space between royal blood and independent voice, estranged not just by geography, but by a loss of faith that no crown can restore.